The interstellar market was alive with color, noise, and motion. Ships of all shapes and sizes floated in docking bays, their hulls polished or worn, their engines silent or humming faintly. Alien merchants shouted in dozens of languages, advertising their wares: rare metals, exotic plants, advanced gadgets, and ancient relics from lost civilizations. Every species present moved with purpose, their eyes sharp for opportunity, their hands quick to grab a bargain. Among all the displays, one ship sat apart from the crowd. It was large, taller than most small vessels and broader than the common freighters, but it was battered. Its hull was scratched, its paint chipped, and dust had gathered in the corners of its metallic frame. The ship's engines were cold, silent, and its systems offline. To any casual observer, it was just a relic, a piece of old technology no one wanted. The aliens who controlled the market had no interest in it. They called it obsolete, broken, worthless. A few curious merchants glanced at it, then shook their heads. Nothing here, they said. Just old junk. The ship, once proud and powerful, had been reduced to a display item, a warning of what time could do to even the mightiest creations. Into this chaos of commerce stepped a human. His name was Eli, and humans were always noticed, though not always respected. Their skin was pale compared to most alien species, their bodies unarmored and their technology often smaller, simpler, yet humans had a reputation. They were clever, patient, and surprisingly resilient. Many aliens underestimated them, and that was always a mistake. Eli's eyes were calm, scanning the market with a careful curiosity. While the others shouted and bargained loudly, he moved quietly, observing details that no one else cared about. His gaze fell on the battered ship. While others saw trash, Eli saw patterns in the scratches, faint glimmers of energy beneath the surface and strange engravings along the hull. He could not explain it yet, but he felt a pull toward the vessel, a sense that it was important. The market buzzed around him and merchants continued to mock the ship. Who would buy that? One alien laughed, a small winged creature with green scales. Only a fool or a human. Eli smiled faintly. He had heard this before, many times. Humans often did the impossible because no one expected them to succeed. He approached the market officials and asked for the price. They named a number that was almost nothing. The aliens wanted to be rid of it. Others had tried to bargain, but no one had taken it seriously. Eli's mind worked quickly. He assessed the price, the value of the materials, and the hidden potential. He knew he could make it work if he was careful and clever. He offered a few extra credits, enough to secure the purchase, but not enough to make the sellers suspicious of his intentions. In minutes, the deal was done. The ship was his. Other aliens laughed openly. "A human bought the junk," one of them sneered. "You've wasted your credits, foolish creature." But Eli ignored them. He only looked at the ship with quiet determination. He climbed aboard for the first time, feeling the cold, metallic floor under his feet. The interior was dark, empty, and quiet. Dust drifted in the beams of light that filtered through the cracked panels. Panels flickered weakly as Eli tested the controls, but most systems remained dead. The air inside was stale but breathable. As he moved through the corridors, he noticed the carvings along the walls, strange symbols that pulsed faintly with a light that only he seemed to notice. He did not understand them yet, but he knew they were important. There was something more to this ship than mere metal and wires. Eli spent hours just exploring. He checked every panel, every room, every access port. He found storage compartments filled with alien tools and supplies, some damaged, some intact. He discovered old navigation charts, maps of star systems, and logs that hinted at missions long forgotten. Each discovery filled him with a sense of purpose. Finally, he reached the command center. The main console was covered in dust, but Eli's hands moved deftly over the controls. He connected his portable tools and began the slow process of understanding the ship's systems. The interface was unlike anything he had seen before, alien in design but not impossible to decipher. He noticed patterns, repetitions, and logic that mirrored human systems in surprising ways. Hours turned into days. Eli worked tirelessly, repairing circuits, rebooting systems, and patching damaged software. The work was exhausting, but he felt alive. The ship responded to him in subtle ways. Lights flickered at his presence. Consoles activated when he approached, and he began to feel a rhythm as if the ship itself was aware of him. Outside, the alien market had moved on. New ships arrived, new goods were displayed, and new buyers wandered through the crowded docks. But Eli remained focused on his task, indifferent to the noise around him. The ship, which had been discarded and forgotten, began to show signs of life. One night, as Eli worked alone in the dim light of the command center, a small hum filled the air. A panel lit up, showing symbols he had not yet learned to read. The hum grew into a soft pulse, a heartbeat of energy. Eli paused, listening carefully. The ship was awakening. Not fully, but enough to respond. He realized then that this was no ordinary vessel. It was intelligent, at least in a basic sense. It could communicate in its own way, and it had knowledge waiting to be unlocked. Eli's heart raced with excitement. He was not just repairing a ship. He was restoring a forgotten mind. Aliens who had once mocked him continued their lives, unaware of the small pulse of light and energy that now flowed within the ship. They had judged it by appearances, by the rust and scratches, but they did not see what Eli could see: potential. Humans had a way of seeing what others ignored, of finding value where others saw none. Eli spent the next few days learning the rhythms of the ship. It responded to certain commands, and its systems began to show patterns. Energy flowed through the engines, though they remained dormant. Holographic displays flickered, revealing fragments of data about distant star systems, resource deposits, and ancient civilizations. Eli copied everything he could, storing it in his own devices. He also discovered signs of previous battles, scars in the hull and corridors, signs of damage that the aliens who sold him the ship had ignored. This vessel had once fought and survived, traveled through dangerous regions of space, and carried secrets that no one had been able to unlock. Despite all this, the market continued to underestimate him. A few aliens visited, curious about the faint energy readings from the ship, but none stayed long. They saw only the rusted exterior and assumed the systems were worthless. Eli smiled quietly at their ignorance. This was his advantage. Humans succeeded when others doubted them. By the end of the first week, Eli had learned enough to activate one small system, the ship's internal mapping network. Holographic stars appeared in the air, slowly rotating, showing sectors of space that no human or alien had charted in decades. The ship whispered secrets through flickers of light and soft hums. Eli's eyes widened with wonder. "This is only the beginning," he whispered to himself. He knew he could make this ship something extraordinary, something the galaxy had never seen before. But he also knew the journey would be long and dangerous. The universe was full of those who would try to claim such power, those who would never believe a human could master it. Still, Eli felt a thrill that he had never experienced before. The ship was alive in a way that nothing else had ever been. It was more than metal and circuits. It was a partner, a puzzle, and a treasure all in one. And for the first time in a long while, Eli felt truly challenged, truly alive. As the twin suns set over the market docks, casting long shadows across the abandoned ship, Eli stood at the command center, watching the glow of the newly awakened systems. Around him, the aliens laughed, whispered, and continued their business, unaware that the so-called worthless vessel now held the future in its circuits. Eli knew one thing clearly: no one, not a single alien, would ever look at a human the same way again. And the ship, once considered scrap, was about to change everything. Days turned into nights, though time felt different aboard the abandoned alien ship. Eli moved through its corridors with practiced care, exploring every corner and inspecting every control panel. Dust had long settled on the surfaces, but it did little to hide the hidden potential within the vessel. He had already activated small systems, but now his focus was on the larger, more complex ones: the ship's power core, its propulsion network, and the semi-sentient systems that seemed to respond to thought rather than commands. The main power conduit was a labyrinth of wires and panels, a strange mixture of alien technology and something almost organic. Eli ran his hands over the lines, studying their patterns, noting which connections were dead and which seemed dormant but still alive. His fingers brushed over a smooth, cool panel, and a faint hum resonated under his touch. He smiled quietly. The ship was alive, waiting for someone to awaken it. Most aliens would have seen the tangled circuits and called it chaos. But humans thrived in chaos. Eli had grown up fixing machines his friends and neighbors had declared impossible. To him, these wires were not obstacles. They were puzzles, and he loved puzzles. He connected his portable diagnostic unit to the ship's core. The machine's language was alien, composed of symbols and pulses, but Eli was patient. Slowly, he began to decipher the signals. The ship's core responded in flashes of light, almost like a heartbeat. Each pulse carried information, and Eli translated them one by one, cross-referencing with his own knowledge of physics and engineering. Hours passed, and then days. Eli slept only when exhaustion forced him to, often sitting in the command center with the soft glow of holographic displays surrounding him. His persistence began to pay off. Small systems came to life. Lights flickered on, environmental controls activated, and a low hum filled the ship as energy began to circulate through its veins. It was not fast, and it was not perfect, but it was a start. Eli knew that the ship had been abandoned because no alien could unlock its potential. It required not just technical knowledge, but imagination, an ability to see possibilities that others ignored. And humans, he knew, were unparalleled in that regard. One evening, as he worked on recalibrating the navigation system, the ship responded in a way that startled him. Holographic displays flickered to life across the command center, forming star maps and routes through sectors of space that were unknown in current galactic charts. The star maps rotated slowly in the air, showing destinations far beyond any known trade routes. Eli leaned forward, fascinated. The ship was not just a vessel. It was a guide, a keeper of knowledge long forgotten. "Where did you take me before?" he whispered almost to himself. There was no answer in words, but a pattern of light pulsed across the console. It was rhythmic, almost like a heartbeat, and Eli understood that the ship was communicating in its own way. He could not yet translate it completely, but the intention was clear. It wanted him to explore, to learn, to unlock its secrets. Eli spent the next several days testing the ship's subsystems. He repaired the life support units, calibrated the environmental controls, and rerouted energy through damaged circuits. Each step required patience, creativity, and careful observation. Sometimes he had to improvise with tools and parts scavenged from other ships at nearby stations. But with each repair, the ship responded, lights glowing brighter, hums resonating stronger. Outside, the aliens continued their routines, unaware of the miracle happening in the empty hangar. They passed by the dock, noting strange energy readings, but assumed them to be minor fluctuations. None suspected that a human had begun unlocking a ship that had been written off as worthless. During this time, Eli discovered one of the ship's most extraordinary features, a semi-sentient control core. It was unlike anything he had seen before. It did not respond like a typical AI nor like a biological brain. Instead, it seemed to think in patterns, pulses of energy and light that carried information. At first, it was unintelligible, a jumble of symbols and vibrations. But Eli, patient as always, began to understand the rhythm. He noticed that certain actions caused predictable responses from the core. Turning a specific dial or pressing a sequence of buttons would trigger a series of lights that seemed to correspond with the ship's memory banks. Slowly, the puzzle began to make sense. The ship was alive, not in a biological way, but in a way that required understanding, respect, and patience. One night, Eli sat in the command center, studying the core's pulses. He tapped a sequence on the console, and the lights danced in a pattern he had not seen before. Suddenly, a holographic display activated, projecting a map of a distant star system, its planets rotating slowly in three-dimensional space. Eli's eyes widened. The ship was showing him not just coordinates, but information, resources, potential hazards, and even traces of civilizations that had existed long before current records. "This is incredible," he murmured. He could feel the thrill of discovery coursing through him. The ship, once considered junk, was a treasure trove of knowledge, waiting for someone clever enough to unlock it. And now that someone was him, the days that followed were a blur of work and discovery. Eli repaired the ship's engines, though they remained dormant, waiting for full activation. He calibrated the navigation network, tested environmental controls, and strengthened the hull using materials he had salvaged. Every small success seemed to encourage the ship to respond further, as if it recognized his efforts. During one late-night session, a small emergency alert flickered on a console. Eli approached, expecting a minor fault, but what he found astonished him. The ship had detected an energy anomaly nearby, a faint signal from deep space that had gone unnoticed by all other sensors. Eli quickly traced the source and realized it was a fragment of an ancient probe, a relic from a civilization long gone. The ship guided him precisely to it, its semi-sentient core adjusting calculations instantly. Eli collected the probe, examining the data stored within. It contained star charts, language patterns, and records of technology that humans had never encountered. He realized that the ship had the capability to not only travel through space, but also uncover lost knowledge. It was more than a vessel. It was a library, a guardian, and a guide all in one. Word of strange energy readings eventually reached a few curious aliens at the station. A trader with sharp eyes and a quick mind approached, hoping to see what caused the anomaly. Eli welcomed him cautiously. The alien stared in disbelief as he saw the ship's systems flickering to life, displays projecting holographic star maps and data streams. "I thought it was junk," the alien admitted. "I never imagined it could do this," Eli smiled. "Sometimes what looks worthless is just waiting for the right person to unlock its potential." By the end of the second week, the ship was almost fully operational. Its life support and environmental systems worked perfectly, engines hummed faintly, and the navigation network displayed routes that were centuries ahead of current galactic charts. The semi-sentient core pulsed steadily, almost like a heartbeat, and Eli felt a bond forming with the vessel. It was no longer just a ship. It was a partner, a guide, and a source of knowledge beyond anything Eli had ever seen, and he knew that once it was fully awakened, it could take him to places no human or alien had ever been. Eli stood in the command center, watching the displays and listening to the soft hum of the ship. Outside, the stars glimmered through the hangar's viewports, distant and silent, waiting to be explored. The market below had grown quiet at night, the aliens long gone to their own homes or ships, unaware that a human had begun awakening a vessel that would change the galaxy forever. "This is just the beginning," Eli said softly. He tapped the console, initiating a system diagnostic. The ship responded immediately, lights flickering in acknowledgement. The semi-sentient core pulsed in a pattern he had come to recognize: curiosity, readiness, and trust. Eli knew that he had unlocked something extraordinary. The aliens had discarded it, laughed at it, and called it worthless. But he had seen its potential. And now, he was ready to take the next step, fully awakening the ship and discovering the secrets it had kept hidden for centuries. For the first time, Eli felt the true thrill of exploration, not just through space, but through knowledge, through possibilities, and through the partnership of a vessel that had waited long for someone clever enough to understand it. The galaxy had ignored the ship, and it had ignored the galaxy. But together, Eli and the vessel were about to change that forever. With the ship now responding almost fully to his commands, Eli felt a sense of anticipation he had never experienced before. The hum of the engines was steady, the lights of the control panels brightened with life, and the semi-sentient core pulsed in a rhythm that seemed almost like it was greeting him. The vessel was no longer just a machine. It was a partner, a guide, and a companion. Eli activated the ship's navigation system, its holographic maps spinning slowly in three-dimensional space. Lines connected star systems with delicate precision, showing paths across sectors that humans had never charted and aliens had long forgotten. The ship had kept its knowledge hidden, waiting for someone who could read the signs, and now Eli was ready. "Where to first?" he asked, speaking aloud more to himself than to the ship. The control core pulsed, sending streams of light along the consoles. Slowly, the ship highlighted a sector beyond known space, a place not recorded on any current galactic map. Eli's curiosity piqued. This was what he had hoped for, a chance to explore, to discover, to unlock secrets hidden for centuries. The engines came alive at his touch, vibrating softly under his hands. The ship moved smoothly out of the docking bay, sliding past the bustling market without attracting attention. The aliens there would never have guessed that a human had awakened a vessel that could surpass even the most advanced ships in the galaxy. Eli smiled quietly to himself. Underestimation was a human advantage. Space stretched out before him, dark and infinite, speckled with stars. Eli guided the ship carefully, following the routes highlighted by its semi-sentient core. The path led him through asteroid belts and nebulae that were hazardous to ordinary ships, but the alien vessel navigated them effortlessly. Its systems reacted instinctively, adjusting shields, redirecting power, and avoiding obstacles with precision. After several hours of careful travel, Eli entered an uncharted sector. The stars were unfamiliar, scattered in strange patterns, and the space itself seemed ancient, as if it had been untouched for millennia. He noticed anomalies in the readings, faint energy signatures, remnants of old probes, and signals that no known civilization had transmitted. The ship responded with a gentle hum, guiding him toward the sources. The first discovery was a small probe, half buried in the debris of a forgotten asteroid field. Eli carefully extracted it, examining the data stored within. Holographic images of long-lost civilizations appeared in the air, showing advanced cities, ships, and technology far beyond current understanding. Written records explained their ways of life, their discoveries, and even their mistakes. Eli studied them intently, realizing that the knowledge here could change the way humans, and perhaps all species, understood space travel and science. "This is incredible," he whispered. The ship pulsed in response, as if acknowledging his excitement. It had led him here, chosen this discovery as the first step in a journey that only a human could navigate. Eli's exploration continued. He found more probes, each containing fragments of information, maps of hidden star systems, designs for advanced energy reactors, and techniques for navigation that eliminated the need for conventional faster-than-light drives. With each discovery, the ship seemed to respond more eagerly, guiding him with greater precision and efficiency. Word of the ship's unusual energy readings began to spread slowly among nearby stations. A few aliens, curious and cautious, approached the coordinates where Eli had disappeared. They scanned the area, detecting anomalies, but the signals were faint, unpredictable. None realized that a human had unlocked a ship with the power to chart unexplored sectors and uncover ancient knowledge. Back aboard the vessel, Eli activated the ship's scanning array. It projected a wide field across space, revealing structures hidden in asteroid belts and faint energy currents flowing between stars. One structure in particular caught his attention, a massive construct, half hidden by a dense cluster of rocks and ice, its design unlike anything in current galactic records. Eli guided the ship closer. As he approached, the craft's defenses activated instinctively, shields adjusting to radiation and debris, engines repositioning to maintain stability. The semi-sentient core pulsed rapidly, almost in excitement. It recognized the structure as significant, and it wanted Eli to understand its importance. Inside the construct, Eli discovered records of a civilization that had vanished thousands of years ago. Their ships, their technology, and their achievements were stored in a network of databases hidden within the construct's walls. Holographic projections illustrated their society, their cities, their education systems, and their incredible engineering feats. Eli marveled at the knowledge. With the ship's guidance, he could access these archives and learn secrets that had been lost to the galaxy for centuries. As he studied the records, Eli realized that the ship itself had been designed to protect and guide knowledge. Its semi-sentient core was not just a machine, it was a custodian, created to find the right mind capable of unlocking its full potential. That mind, as it had now determined, belonged to a human. Eli felt a sense of awe and responsibility. This ship had been discarded, ignored, and dismissed by countless alien civilizations. Yet it had chosen him to awaken its secrets. He knew that what he did next could shape the future of humanity, and perhaps the galaxy itself. During his research, Eli encountered evidence of alien mercantile syndicates who had once sought to claim such vessels for profit. The ship had escaped their attention, perhaps intentionally or perhaps by chance. Either way, Eli understood that if news of the ship spread, powerful entities would come seeking it. They would try to take it by force or trickery, believing that a human could not possibly control such a machine. Eli was not worried. He trusted his ingenuity and the ship's instincts. He had already seen how the vessel adapted, how it responded to his commands, and how it reacted creatively to challenges. The bond between him and the ship was growing stronger, and he knew that together they could face any obstacle. One night, as Eli reviewed the ancient records, he discovered coordinates for an energy source that had been used by civilizations long forgotten. It was a star system rich with resources and hidden energy flows that could revolutionize propulsion technology. The ship pulsed, guiding him toward this system. Eli plotted a course, feeling the thrill of discovery building inside him. As he traveled, the ship continued to teach him. It showed him how to read its energy pulses, how to interpret its semi-sentient responses, and how to anticipate its reactions. Eli realized that he was learning not just about the ship, but also about the ancient civilizations it had preserved. He was learning to think like the designers, to see the universe through their eyes, and to innovate in ways that no one else could. When he finally arrived at the hidden star system, Eli was awestruck. Massive planets orbited a radiant star, and faint energy streams flowed between them, detectable only by the ship's advanced sensors. The system was untouched, pristine, and full of possibilities. He explored carefully, scanning for resources, energy anomalies, and traces of ancient technology. The ship guided him to a planet rich in crystalline structures that hummed with energy. Eli studied them, realizing they could be used as a power source far beyond current technology. He carefully collected samples, ensuring not to damage the natural formations. Each action was precise, deliberate, and thoughtful. The ship seemed pleased, its core pulsing in appreciation. As he worked, Eli reflected on how far he had come. When he first bought the worthless ship, no one had believed in it, no one had believed in him. Now he had unlocked secrets, explored uncharted space, and discovered knowledge that could change the course of history. The ship, once discarded, was now a beacon of possibility. By the end of his first full month aboard the vessel, Eli had explored multiple hidden sectors, uncovered ancient probes, and collected invaluable knowledge. The ship's systems were fully operational, and its semi-sentient core responded to him with what could almost be called emotion. Together, they had become more than human and machine. They were partners in discovery, ready to face challenges that no one else could imagine. Eli looked out at the stars, feeling a sense of purpose stronger than ever. The galaxy had dismissed him and the ship as insignificant, but he knew better. He understood that humans, with their ingenuity, patience, and courage, could achieve what others thought impossible. And with the ship by his side, there were no limits to what he could discover. The stars waited. The galaxy waited, and Eli, aboard the ship once considered worthless, was ready to show the universe the true power of human resourcefulness. Eli had been exploring uncharted sectors of space for weeks, guided by the ship's semi-sentient core. Every discovery made him more confident in his abilities, and the ship responded to his commands with a precision that felt almost like a conversation. Ancient star systems, forgotten probes, and hidden energy sources had all become part of his knowledge. But he also knew that the wider galaxy would not remain unaware forever. Indeed, it didn't. Word of the mysterious energy signals reached alien merchant syndicates, organizations known for greed, cunning, and ruthlessness. They sent scouts, spies, and emissaries to track the source, hoping to claim the treasure for themselves. When the first ships arrived, Eli detected them through the vessel's advanced sensors. He watched their movements carefully, noting their formations and calculating their potential threat. "They're curious," Eli said softly, studying the display, "and they're not coming as friends." The alien scouts were fast, but the ship was faster. Its engines, fine-tuned through weeks of careful calibration, responded instantly to Eli's maneuvers. He weaved through asteroid belts using the ship's agility to avoid detection. Every action was precise, every calculation deliberate. The ship's semi-sentient core seemed to anticipate the enemy's movements, guiding Eli to positions where he could remain unseen while gathering data. Eli realized that these aliens assumed the ship was like any other vessel. They expected predictable behavior, linear thinking, and conventional tactics. They did not expect creativity. They did not expect a human. Hours turned into days as Eli carefully studied the incoming ships. He noted their strengths and weaknesses, their blind spots, and their likely strategies. The ship adapted with him, reinforcing shields where needed, rerouting power to engines for quick maneuvers, and activating defensive systems that no alien vessel had ever seen in action. Finally, the pursuers made their move. A formation of heavily armed ships attempted to block Eli's path, thinking that superior numbers would intimidate him. But Eli remained calm. He had studied the patterns of alien attacks in archives, probes, and tactical simulations stored within the ship's ancient systems. He used that knowledge to plan his counter. The first move was simple: distraction. Eli activated the ship's holographic projectors, creating multiple false images of his vessel across the battlefield. The alien ships fired at the illusions, wasting precious energy and ammunition. Meanwhile, the real ship slipped through narrow gaps in the asteroid belt, moving with an elegance and speed no alien vessel could match. Eli smiled. Underestimation is a human advantage, he said, thinking of how the aliens had laughed when he first bought the ship. Their arrogance was their weakness. But the challenge was far from over. The aliens quickly adjusted, predicting the trick and forcing Eli to improvise further. He activated a secondary system he had discovered while exploring the ship, an adaptive energy shield that could absorb and redirect attacks. Using the ship's semi-sentient core, he calculated the trajectory of incoming fire and reflected it toward empty space. Every movement was precise, every decision rapid. The pursuers were stunned. They had expected a predictable, slow-moving ship. They had not expected a human capable of improvising in real time with a semi-sentient vessel. They realized that this was not a mere opponent. They were facing an unknown intelligence, a combination of human creativity and alien technology that far exceeded their understanding. Eli pushed the ship further, activating its stealth systems. The hull shimmered, blending with the darkness of space. Sensors that had once been dormant now scanned the surroundings with incredible accuracy. He could see every movement of the enemy fleet while remaining almost invisible. The aliens had no idea where he was, no idea how to counter the tactics of a human who thought differently. As the chase continued, Eli discovered more hidden capabilities in the ship. Defensive drones emerged from concealed bays, responding instantly to threats. Energy pulses could be redirected to disrupt enemy systems without causing permanent damage. The ship's engines could perform maneuvers previously thought impossible, giving Eli control over speed, direction, and momentum in ways no alien pilot could anticipate. It was a battle of wits as much as skill. Eli and the ship moved as one, anticipating attacks, avoiding traps, and striking only when necessary. The alien fleet, despite its superior firepower, struggled to adapt to the unpredictable strategies. Their communications buzzed with confusion, and their confidence began to falter. Finally, Eli reached a strategic position near a dense nebula. Using the ship's sensors and the nebula's natural cover, he set up a defensive formation that the aliens could not penetrate. He activated a series of holographic decoys and energy pulses that made it seem as though multiple ships were hidden among the clouds of gas. The alien fleet hesitated, unsure where the real ship was, and eventually they retreated, unable to risk further losses. Eli exhaled deeply. For the first time, he allowed himself a small smile of satisfaction. He had faced the galaxy's best and shown that human ingenuity could outmatch superior numbers and technology. But he also knew this was only the beginning. The aliens would not forget this encounter. They would plan, they would wait, and they might return with more resources, more ships, and more cunning. Yet Eli felt no fear. The ship had taught him much in these weeks of exploration. How to navigate unknown space, how to repair and optimize alien technology, and most importantly, how to think creatively in ways that no one else could predict. Together they were more than human and machine. They were a force that could challenge assumptions and reshape expectations. After the confrontation, Eli took a moment to reflect. The galaxy had underestimated humans. It had laughed at him when he bought the ship for almost nothing. It had assumed that a human could not awaken a vessel with semi-sentient intelligence. And now, after navigating uncharted space, uncovering ancient knowledge, and outmaneuvering a fleet of elite alien ships, Eli knew that the galaxy had to reassess its assumptions. He activated the ship's archives again, reviewing the information from the hidden sectors. There were more star systems to explore, more probes to uncover, and more knowledge to retrieve. The galaxy was vast, and Eli realized that he was only scratching the surface of what the ship could teach him. Yet he also understood the responsibility he now carried. The knowledge he had discovered could change technology, commerce, and even the balance of power across civilizations. It was not something to be hoarded or misused. He needed to be careful, to move thoughtfully, and to continue learning from the ship. The semi-sentient core pulsed gently in agreement, as though acknowledging the weight of the responsibility. Eli decided to continue his journey, but with caution. He would not confront every alien faction immediately. Instead, he would explore, learn, and prepare. The galaxy was full of challenges, but he had proven that humans could rise to any occasion when cleverness, patience, and courage were combined. As the ship moved through space, navigating past hidden asteroid fields and ancient star remnants, Eli reflected on what had happened. The ship, once considered worthless, had shown its true potential. The aliens who had dismissed it as junk had been blind to its capabilities. Only a human with imagination and determination could unlock the secrets it held. This realization filled Eli with pride, not arrogance, but quiet confidence. Humans had been underestimated for centuries, and this ship was proof that underestimation could be overcome. He had turned what others saw as scrap into a vessel of discovery, a weapon of intellect, and a symbol of human perseverance. He also thought about the future. The galaxy was full of unknowns, and challenges would come. Other factions would likely try to claim the ship or its secrets. But Eli knew that humans had a unique advantage, the ability to innovate, adapt, and see opportunities where others saw obstacles. The semi-sentient ship amplified this ability, but it was Eli's mind, his creativity, and his persistence that had made all the difference. As he charted a course toward the next sector, the ship's holographic displays glowed softly, revealing hidden pathways through space and systems that had been forgotten. Eli could feel the excitement building again, the thrill of discovery, the joy of exploration, and the knowledge that he was at the forefront of something extraordinary. The galaxy might challenge him, test him, and even try to stop him. But Eli and the ship were ready. Together, they were more than human ingenuity or alien technology. They were a force that could rewrite expectations and redefine what was possible. And so, with the stars stretched out before him like a canvas waiting to be painted, Eli set his sights on the unknown. The adventure was far from over, and the challenges ahead would test him like never before. But one thing was certain. Humans had proven once again that nothing was impossible when curiosity, determination, and intelligence worked together. The galaxy had taken notice, and the human and his ship, once considered worthless, were about to leave a mark that no one could ignore. Eli had traveled farther than any human or even most aliens had ever gone. The ship, once considered worthless, was now fully operational, its semi-sentient core pulsating with intelligence and purpose. Together, they had navigated uncharted space, discovered lost civilizations, and outmaneuvered hostile alien fleets. And yet Eli knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, and its eyes were now upon him. Alien factions, curious and cautious, had begun to follow the signals left by his ship. Some came in peace, others in suspicion, and a few with intentions that were more dangerous. But Eli had learned how to move carefully, to anticipate challenges, and to leverage both his own creativity and the ship's hidden capabilities. He plotted a course toward a cluster of systems that, according to the ship's archives, contained untapped resources and ancient knowledge. These sectors had been avoided by other civilizations, considered too dangerous or too remote. For Eli, they were a new frontier, a chance to learn, explore, and prove the value of human ingenuity once more. As he traveled, he reflected on how far he had come. When he first purchased the ship for almost nothing, aliens had mocked him. They had called the vessel worthless, a relic of a forgotten era. But now it was clear that the ship's true value lay not in appearances or market price, but in potential that only a human could recognize and unlock. The first discovery in this new sector was a derelict station orbiting a gas giant. Its structure was ancient, battered and overgrown with energy-harvesting crystals that had long been dormant. Eli docked carefully, using the ship's precise maneuvering systems to avoid damaging the delicate crystals. Inside the station, he discovered archives filled with technological schematics, maps and records of civilizations long gone. Holographic projections illuminated the corridors, showing cities, ships, and innovations that far surpassed what any current civilization had achieved. Eli scanned the data quickly, storing copies within the ship's memory banks. He knew that this knowledge could improve technology, medicine, energy production, and navigation across the galaxy. While exploring, Eli encountered a few alien scouts who had arrived to inspect the station. They expected confrontation, perhaps even dominance, but Eli had prepared. The ship's systems adapted instantly, projecting holographic illusions to create multiple copies of itself, confusing the intruders. Eli moved with careful precision, guiding the vessel to remain hidden while studying the aliens' behavior. The aliens eventually left, baffled and frustrated. They had underestimated the combination of human ingenuity and a semi-sentient ship, and that miscalculation allowed Eli to continue without interference. The experience reinforced a lesson he had already learned. Humans were capable of achieving what others dismissed as impossible. Eli returned to the command center, examining the ship's responses. The core pulsed steadily, almost in approval. The bond between them had grown stronger over time. The ship no longer just followed commands, it anticipated needs, suggested possibilities, and reacted with an intelligence that made it feel alive. Together, they were more than human and machine. They were a partnership capable of shaping the future. His next journey took him to a hidden planet rich in rare minerals and crystals that could be used as advanced energy sources. As he landed carefully on the surface, he marveled at the natural beauty and precision of the formations. The planet had been untouched for millennia, and it held secrets that could change the technology of entire civilizations. Eli carefully extracted samples, ensuring not to damage the delicate structures. The ship's sensors monitored his actions, offering guidance and warnings, preventing mistakes that could have catastrophic consequences. Every moment was precise, deliberate, and thoughtful. He understood that this knowledge was powerful, and with power came responsibility. As he worked, a transmission reached him from an alien research council. They had heard rumors of the human with the worthless ship, and now they sought contact. Their message was cautious, respectful, and tinged with curiosity. They wished to meet, to learn from him, and perhaps to collaborate. Eli considered their offer carefully. He had no desire for conflict, but he also understood that sharing knowledge could build alliances, strengthen trust, and demonstrate the value of humans as innovators. He responded, setting a meeting at a neutral location within a safe system. When the alien representatives arrived, they were surprised to see the ship fully operational, gleaming with energy and intelligence. Its systems moved with precision, its core pulsing like a heartbeat. The representatives had expected a human controlling a small, primitive vessel, not a fully awakened ship capable of exploring uncharted space and uncovering lost knowledge. Eli welcomed them and shared a portion of the ship's discoveries. He showed them hidden star systems, ancient probes, and energy-rich planets. The aliens listened in amazement, realizing that their assumptions about humans had been wrong. Humans were clever, resourceful, and capable of innovation beyond expectation. The council's leader, a tall, elegant being with translucent skin, spoke carefully. "We underestimated your species. This ship, it is extraordinary, and so are you. Humans have a gift for seeing possibilities where others see nothing. You have earned our respect." Eli nodded humbly. The ship was waiting for someone to understand it. "I only listened and learned. There is more knowledge out there, waiting to be discovered. Together we can explore and learn safely without greed or destruction." The aliens agreed. They offered assistance in sharing knowledge, providing resources, and establishing safe exploration routes. Eli accepted, knowing that collaboration could amplify the impact of his discoveries while protecting the fragile remnants of ancient civilizations. As the alliance formed, Eli realized the full significance of what had happened. The ship, once considered worthless, had become a symbol of human ingenuity, perseverance, and vision. It had challenged assumptions, outmaneuvered superior forces, and revealed secrets that had been hidden for centuries. More importantly, it had shown that humans could achieve greatness not through brute force, but through creativity, intelligence, and determination. Eli continued his journeys, exploring new sectors, uncovering lost knowledge, and mapping hidden systems. Every discovery reinforced the lesson that humans could see potential where others saw nothing. The galaxy began to take notice. Reports of the human and the worthless ship spread, inspiring curiosity, respect, and a hint of caution among alien civilizations. One day, while navigating through a dense star cluster, Eli paused to look out at the stars. The ship hummed softly beneath him, a constant reminder of the bond they shared. Together, they had turned something abandoned into something extraordinary. Together, they had proven that humans, with their ingenuity and persistence, could change the course of events in a galaxy that had long dismissed them. "This is just the beginning," Eli said aloud, smiling as he tapped the console. The ship responded with a series of glowing pulses, almost like an agreement. There was still so much to explore, so much to learn, and countless civilizations that could benefit from the knowledge he had uncovered. He thought of the aliens who had once laughed at him, who had called the ship worthless. He thought of the skeptics and the doubters, and he knew with quiet satisfaction that they had all been wrong. The value of a ship, a person, or an idea could not be measured by appearances or by assumptions. True worth came from creativity, courage, and the willingness to see beyond what others accepted as reality. The galaxy awaited, full of uncharted space, ancient knowledge, and hidden wonders. And Eli, aboard the ship that had once been discarded, was ready to face it all. He would explore, discover, and share knowledge that could benefit countless civilizations. He would prove again and again that humans were not to be underestimated. The ship's core pulsed gently as he set a course toward the next sector. Stars stretched before him, infinite and bright, each one a promise of discovery and adventure. And for the first time, Eli felt a sense of complete purpose. The vessel, the knowledge, and the galaxy were no longer separate challenges. They were part of a journey that he had only begun. As he moved deeper into the unknown, he thought of the words he had whispered when he first purchased the ship. Some things are never truly worthless. They just need the right mind to unlock their secrets. Now that truth had become a reality. He had changed the fate of the vessel forever, and in doing so, had changed the way the galaxy saw humans. The stars shone brightly, the ship hummed softly, and Eli piloted toward the future with confidence, curiosity, and courage. The galaxy had been reminded that humans, when determined and clever, could achieve the extraordinary. And the ship, once abandoned and dismissed, would continue to reveal secrets, unlock potential, and guide humanity toward a new era of exploration and discovery. Together, human and machine moved forward, ready to face the challenges, wonders, and mysteries of the universe. And the galaxy would never forget the story of the human who took what everyone considered worthless and turned it into something priceless.